As soon as these babies were born, they were tagged and sent to a military camp for intensive training. Since then, they had no parents and no name. Instead, they had code names in various training sessions. At the age of 5, they were forced to watch real animals fight and kill each other to foster their ruthlessness. Some of the children did not want to watch these bloody scenes, but as soon as they turned their heads to avoid, they were forced to look back by the superior with a stick. At the age of 8, they began to receive comprehensive training in intellectual and physical fitness. The instructors would also be available at any time to evaluate their training effectiveness. The last person in the ranking would be ruthlessly eliminated. What waited for disqualified people was only a cold bullet. At the age of 17, all training ended. What awaits them are real gun combat missions. The instructors will engrave their code names and blood types on their faces to facilitate blood transfusions for them in future combat. From this moment on, they will become the true cold-blooded soldier. The main character is the best among the soldiers. He has a great fighting ability and many times leads the team to break out of the siege and excellently completes various difficult tasks. Therefore, he has become the sharpest knife in the world of cold-blooded soldiers. However, over time they are getting older. There is a disagreement in the military about their leave or stay. Through genetic engineering, a bearded leader creates a new group of genetically engineered soldiers, which have stronger endurance, faster reaction speed, and stronger coordination ability. The bearded leader wants to use these monsters to gradually replace the old cold-blooded soldiers like the main character. However, Captain Church, the main character's commander, disagrees with the bearded man. He insists there's still a place for these veterans, so the bearded man decides to let the genetically engineered soldiers and the human soldiers have a public competition to prove which ones are more valuable. The competition quickly began. Whether in shooting ability, endurance, or attack power, promotion power, and other aspects, genetically engineered soldiers are better than humans. In the final struggle, the main character teams up with 2 human soldiers but is unable to defeat the genetically engineered soldiers. 2 teammates are also killed by genetically engineered soldiers. Although the main character takes the opportunity to blind the genetically engineered soldier's one eye, he is knocked down by the opponent and falls from above. Everyone thinks the main character is dead as the other 2 teammates. The bearded man treats corpses as garbage, then throws them to another planet. This planet has long been a dump. Except full of trash and ruins, the rest is all sandstorm. There are hardly any signs of animal survival. The main character quickly wakes up. Because he desperately grabs an iron pillar, he is reluctantly not swept away by the sandstorm. After the sandstorm, he slowly staggers forward. How to survive is a priority problem that he needs to solve. Luckily, he finds a human settlement. These people seem to have been here for a long time, but before he can clarify the situation, a sandstorm blows past and knocks him down. When he opens his eyes again, he finds himself lying in a house, and the landlady even brings him a bowl of hot water. It turned out that not long after he fainted, the residents here held a meeting to discuss whether this uninvited guest should leave or stay. In the end, despite all opinions, the female leader decided to accept the main character and let David's family take care of him. It was here that he felt the warmth of family for the first time. Children can play in the arms of their parents. The laughter of children who have parents can be so sweet, and he has never experienced it since he was born. The long training process caused fear and discipline to seep into his heart. Other than that, there was nothing else. Therefore, he has always had a strict appearance and cold eyes. His every move makes his surrounding residents feel pressured, so the other residents around are always hostile towards him. Not long after, while they are out looking for food, a resident is nearly swept away by a sandstorm. The others can't help at all. Fortunately, the main character takes action in time and successfully rescues him. Since then, locals gradually begin to accept this severe soldier and even bring him to Christmas parties. But the noisy crowd ruins the fun. It makes images of the cruel training in the past keep replaying in the main character's mind over and over again. He starts to get restless, so he goes to the gym alone and punches boxing to release his regrets and anger. At this time, the resident he rescued suddenly appears behind him to send a scarf and also to thank him for saving his life. Then he subconsciously knocks the resident to the ground and strangles him tightly, although after a while the main character regains consciousness and takes his hand back. This scene is accidentally seen by the female leader. For the safety of the other residents, the female leader has to hold a meeting to discuss whether the main character leaves or stays. What's even worse is David, who originally has a little sympathy for the main character, also misunderstood him. It turned out that a few days ago, David's son had accidentally encountered a poisonous snake and was so scared that he didn't know what to do. When the main character saw this, he picked up his shoe and repeatedly hit the ground to teach the boy how to use shoes to deal with a poisonous snake, as well as to help develop the boy's problem-solving ability. Unexpectedly, this scene was seen by David and his wife. They misunderstood that the main character didn't want to save their son, so they no longer helped him in the resident meeting. They give the main character some necessary clothes and weapons, then chase him out of the residential area. The main character is a bit reluctant. After living with these ordinary people for such a long time, he realizes that deeply how warm the intimacy and friendship of ordinary people can be. His cold heart gradually melts, but if these residents don't welcome him and he also doesn't want to cause them any more trouble, he returns to the military dump and endures the cold of the winter alone. Recalling the various experiences of these days, the main character involuntarily sheds tears. This is the first time he has felt the pain of being misunderstood, and also the first time he felt helpless when not being accepted by ordinary people. In the cold night, only a small fire accompanies him. But the next day, David suddenly appears in front of the main character. It turned out that morning a poisonous snake quietly crawled onto David's bed. At a critical moment, David's son smashed it with his shoe. When David woke up and witnessed this scene, he suddenly realized that he had misunderstood the main character, so he immediately set out on his own and finally found the main character. He sincerely apologizes to the main character in hopes that he could continue to live with everyone. At this moment, a giant flying battleship flows over their heads and lands not far away. David thinks that someone is coming to save them from the sea of suffering, so he rushes toward the battleship and shouts. The main character stops David in time. The killer's nature makes him alert. These people may have bad intentions. Indeed, several tanks come out from inside the battleship and are followed by a group of soldiers armed with strong weapons. This is another ambitious plan of the bearded man. He sends genetically engineered soldiers to clean up the junk planet to build an unmanned monitoring station here, as well as to achieve the purpose of dominating the universe. A tank quickly discovers the whereabouts of the main character and David. Several shells are fired from a distance. Under the main character's lead, they dodge the critical hit, but the firepower of the other side is so strong that David is unfortunately hit by a shell. In the end, he is badly injured and dies in the main character's arms. At the same time, genetically engineered soldiers also break into the residential area. In the face of danger, the female leader calmly steps forward and prepares to negotiate with these uninvited guests, but she is directly blown up by a cannon shot from the other side. Then the battle starts. The soldiers launch a crazed and indiscriminate attack on the residents. In an instant, countless unarmed residents fall into a pool of blood. Dead bodies are scattered everywhere. Extremely tragic. Fortunately, the main character returns in time. With his excellent skills, he eliminates many genetically engineered soldiers in turn. After receiving the casualty report, the bearded man suddenly realizes that if he continues to fight, he may sacrifice more genetically engineered soldiers. He has no choice but to give the order to retreat. Surviving residents thus get time to rest, but the killer's intuition tells the main character that these genetically engineered soldiers will soon return. At that time, they will face a greater threat, so he gathers all the weapons that could be used and equips himself to prepare alone to face the coming mortal battle. As expected, after nightfall, the bearded man sends a large number of genetically engineered soldiers to attack the residential area. The main character takes advantage of the darkness to strike first, using a machine gun to kill 2 soldiers, then the third and fourth. In the end, based on combat experience and personal strength, the main character kills all the invaders in turn. Among the genetically engineered soldiers who survive, only the one that was blinded by the main character remains. When the enemies come face to face, their eyes blaze with hatred. The two start fighting as soon as they meet. After a fierce battle, the main character eliminates the soldier. But the bearded man is so angry that he sends human soldiers to install a time bomb on this junk planet. The power of the bomb is enough to destroy the entire planet. Then everything on the planet will turn to ashes. Not only that, the evil bearded man intends to let the human soldiers on this mission be exploded with the bomb. Captain Church, who fiercely disagrees with this plan, is also killed by the crazy bearded man. Fortunately, these human soldiers do not completely wipe out their consciences. When they see the children who are lucky to survive, they cannot bear to continue planting bombs. They also see the main character is not dead. They immediately understand it all. They decide that they can no longer remain silent and be puppets of the bearded man, so they tie up the bearded man and bring him in front of the main character. The bearded man, who is always arrogant, sees the situation change. He is so scared that he pees in his pants and begs for mercy. Of course, he will not give any to the selfish person. He throws the bearded man and some of his subordinates into the battleship. With an explosion, the junk planet and its founders all turn to dust in space. The main character takes the survivors of the residential area on a journey to find a new home. Although the future will always be as challenging as before, the main character has found his life's meaning. The most important reason why humans can continue to reproduce is not based on fighting strength, but on the emotional connection between people. A human should not be a heartless killing machine, but a warm body that understands what it means to be loved and to love. Under the main character's lead, the survivors will surely go to a very distant future. Alright, my video ends here. Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. That really supports my channel. Goodbye.